What is up, everybody? It's Dr. Vibe here, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe Show, two-time Canadian Ethnic Media Association Award winner. 2020, I won for Best Podcast News Award, and in 2018, I won for the Innovation Award, which is their second biggest award they give out next to the Lifetime Achievement. Also, I host the only online broadcast in the world for men, not for men, for fathers. Oh, yeah, for men, for fathers and dads, that is sponsored by Dove Men Care. It's also sponsored by Dad Central Canada's National Fatherhood Organization. As always, I like to say you're blessed, highly favored, a magnet for miracles, and a solution for someone's problem. Always like to have great people on the platform. And this young gentleman I met back in 2020 at the Toronto International Film Festival. Back then, he had a film, he was co-producing a film, excuse me, that was called Dark Girls. And I had the pleasure of meeting him. And I won't get into too much of the story, but when we first met, we were at a restaurant and we had 5 minutes of conversation. And he said, Dr. Vibe, give me a few minutes. And he left. And I thought, did I say something wrong to this man? But he came back and gave me one of his projects that I still have today that has impacted me during my journey. So I'm going to share a little bit about him, and then we're going to show his most recent work. So his name is Channsin Berry. He's a filmmaker as well as a prolific songwriter and painter. He has started his career in New York radio back at WBLS FM, legendary FM station, under the leadership of the mentor and friend Frankie Crocker, legendary DJ, legendary. And after spending 5 years in radio in the Bay Area, he moved to Los Angeles for a position in the Walt Disney Studios feature film financing division. He went on to write and direct music videos for artists such as Chaka Khan, Dionne, Warwick, to name a few. He also directed the PRAME Awards, Blacks in Advertising. He then used his musical talent to write songs for pop diva Chaka Khan, jazz legendary, well, there's so many, jazz legend Nancy Wilson, also Prince and Rosie Gaines, jazz vocalist Mary Stallings, the Nancy Wilson in 2006. He got a Grammy Award for the winning CD Turn to Blue. In between music endeavors, he worked in television as an executive producer, director, sometime host for various shows such as the BET, New York, LA, executive entertainment magazine, All the People, Shaq Jam, Remixed, the Fox Entertainment show Parker Dome. He moved into the independent film area with documentaries such as a Different Shade of Love, My Father's Music, Jazz, and The Black Line. A profile of the black male, parts 1, 2, and 3. And that was the DVD he gave me, The Black Line. He is currently working on several film and TV projects for Urban Winter Entertainment with business partner Mark Cohen. He is the founder of the Channsin Berry Foundation, which raises money for lupus awareness. His most recent productions, Dark Girls 2, 2020, Dark Girls 2011, and The Black Line. But we're going to show you a clip from his most recent production, Dark Girls 2. So let's roll.
Why are we still talking about this?
Because it's still relevant.
Colorism is a colonial legacy. There's still all of this sort of trauma and baggage that we have that hasn't really been unpacked.
Somebody told a lie one day, and they made everything black ugly. And that's what we're dealing with today.
Here in Ghana, there is a lot of skin bleaching because sisters don't perceive themselves as being black and beautiful.
Don't you know how beautiful?
And you know what? Chan and I have been blessed to know each other digitally for about 8 years. And it took me 8 years to get him on the platform. Now, this is the second time he's been on in a year. So this is a blessing in 2020. I know there are people who may not have had blessings this year, but this has been a huge blessing. So welcome back, a gentleman who I highly respect for his heart, his thought process, and his care for Black people. Channsin Berry, welcome.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hey, man.
How you doing?
I am, it's been a strange year.
Yes.
For all of us.
Yes.
Around the planet. It's been a very, very strange year, a very challenging year for especially people of color, and especially for Black men. But
Yes.
we are here. We are living. We are healthy, physically, mentally, and spiritually. And I got to keep the work going because this is why I live, to do the work.
Wonderful. And I want to shout out some people already. Serena Wills, Dr. Tachi. Serena Wills, born and raised in Queens, New York, grew up on WBLS. There you go. Also have Coach Danny Stone is with us. He said, I think I was on the last conversation you had with D. Channsin, and he dropped so much knowledge. Well, welcome back. And also Dr. Tachi is saying this is amazing. Can't go without saying Dr. Tachi hosts one of the livest program about media, tech, and pop culture. It's called Mediascope. It's on 5 p.m. Tuesdays Eastern Time on Instagram Live, and then 6 p.m. same night on LinkedIn. I'm going to say Facebook Live and Instagram Live, and probably places I don't even know of. But we have to say this is going to be an epic conversation. Thanks, folks, for being here. Any questions you have for Chan, ask them in real time. But anyone who's watching this live or on the replay, you're going to be better after watching this. And if you're going to be listening on the replay, you're going to be better. So Chan and I were chopping it up a bit at the beginning here, wondering what direction he wanted to go. So Chan, okay, you know what? Let's talk about the projects you're working on.
Okay. So
let's talk about the first one, The Covered Mind, mental health in the Black community. Well, you told me to choose one, brother.
Yeah, well,
why?
Yeah, I did. You know what, man? Listen, I go after the things that tug at my soul and my spirit. I go after things that I think that we as Black people need to start healing from. I go after things that are given to me. They come to me. And I say, you know what, do I really need to do this? Because this is kind of heavy. And Spirit says, yes, the universe has you. Let's move forward on this, because this is not about me. It's about the healing that this film is going to bring to someone on the planet who looks like us. So I go through with it. Whatever I have to do, I get it done. And as being an independent filmmaker here in the States, and being Black and being a male, being a dad, being a brother, being an uncle, being a godfather, being a friend, you know, it comes with a whole lot. It comes with a whole lot. And sometimes I'm up for the task, and some days I'm not. But I know that I have to follow through, because the gift was given to me to give people who didn't have a voice on the subjects that I choose, or the subjects that were given to me. And mental illness is one of those subjects that a lot of Black folk don't want to talk about. Mm-hmm. And we need to talk about. Yeah. Because we are the way we are for a very good reason. We were not just born like this or into this. We act the way we act. We think the way we think. We love the way we love or don't love because of what the stuff we have been through and what's a part of our DNA. Become a part of our DNA. And I find it fascinating to do the research on why we act the way we do towards other people and towards ourselves. And how much of this has been beaten into us, shot into us, lynched into us, raped into us, kicked into us. dogged into us. I'm surprised, seriously, that we're not crazier than what we are.
Wow.
Because
Wow.
we've been through so much. And we keep coming. We keep going. And I think the reasons why we do that is because who we are spiritually and how our spiritual connection to the universe. And how we are able to make scraps out of dinner since we got here, especially in the United States. Black people have been able to make dinner out of scraps. And taking that analogy in everything that we created, we always had to do the side thing to create stuff. What was left over, what we didn't have access to, we had to create for ourselves. And I've always thought that we've always been a people of survivors and very little living. I always ask the question to all my friends and to people I meet. I wonder what it's like to live and not survive.
Oh. Oh. Dropping knowledge bombs. Danny Stone is saying, I'm with you, D. Many Black people will talk about anything except mental health.
You know, we have a tendency, not all of us, but we have a tendency sometimes to lean on the church for help. And prayer is a big part of who we are and what we should do and what we should keep doing. Because people have prayed us thus far. You have many souls that prayed us thus far. But prayer needs action. Prayer needs to be followed by action, as far as I am concerned. And to deny the fact that there is something wrong with most of us, if not all of us, and that we can take it to the church all the time, never settled well with me. God created people on this planet who know a little bit more than you do about how the mind and spirit works. They're called professionals. They've studied. And the ones who have studied us as human beings and as Black people, maybe we should take a listen to. Because we don't know everything. That's obvious. So why don't you go to someone who's professional that you can talk to, who doesn't have judgment, who understands the journey, who understands the DNA of Black people, the pain that's instilled in the DNA, that's genetically been passed down. That's what I think. And this is the reason why I do the documentary. Well, one of the reasons.
Well, so, and Danny Stone is saying, make dinner out of scraps. Very powerful. Imagine what we could make if we had more than scraps.
Yeah. And that would be out of survival mode. If we were not
Why? Go ahead. I have a question for you. Why this documentary at this time? Because many of us Black people been having many challenges, and you've done many documentaries. Why this subject at this time?
Well, Doc, that's a very good question. Actually, I started about 3 years ago, and I ran out of money, and that some money came through for me to finish up Dark Girls 2. And also,
yes, that story, unforgettable story.
Yeah, and I was finishing up also, you know, right after that, finishing up the completed version of The Church House, Sexuality in the Black Church, which is now completed now. And I kept thinking about how I was feeling about myself and needed to tell the truth about myself to myself. That sometimes I wasn't myself. And I wanted to know why. And I found out that, which is something I knew inside, that I had some issues. And they were mental issues, emotional issues. And I'd had them since I was a child. And sometimes I could handle it, and other times I couldn't. And then one day, I had an episode. And I decided to seek help. And so I went for help, professional help. And I found someone who understood what I was going through. And she helped me gather myself. And I've been doing it for damn near 29 years, off and on for 29 years.
Wow.
But I found a combination of things, of therapies that work for me. For some people, it may be one. For some people, maybe 2 or 3. I found 4 that worked for me.
Wow.
So I do one of those things once a week so I can save myself. So I can be my highest self and be around for the people that I love. So I can disseminate information truthfully about how we can heal. I don't have the answers. I'm just pointing the camera, as I always say, at issues that I think we need to deal with and uncover, and at least start having a conversation about it. And mental illness is definitely one of those things. That's why I'm doing this documentary.
Louise is saying, amen, D. Channsin Berry. God has indeed placed gifted individuals here on earth to help us to live and walk in faith, not survive.
That's right. That's right. And I think I love using and dealing with the word faith. To me, faith has so much more power than hope. There's something about the word faith that brings me to another level. Because in faith, for me, there's forgiveness. And a lot of us really need to forgive. And the first person we need to forgive is ourselves.
Truth. Danny Stone is saying here, you are speaking from a place of truth and from lived experience with mental illness, and seeking help. Serena Wills, if we can get that comment up too, that'd be great. Thank you for your transparency. I know a few who won't seek help, and our relations have been deeply damaged because of it.
You know, let me just say this, Doc.
Yeah.
I want to speak to Black men for just a moment.
Please do.
I don't know what your definition of manhood is. for me, it's not the thing that between your legs. It may be the thing that's between your eyes. It may be the thing that's on the left side of your chest, inside. It may be the thing that, the way that you handle yourself. It may be the thing how you handle other people around you, what you say and what you do for loved ones and for perfect strangers. It may not be the body mass that you think it is that defines manhood. The strength of spirit over the strength of body will win out every time.
Love that. Can you say that again, please?
The strength of spirit will win out every time over the strength of body.
Received. Received. That's
manhood is being the total human being of best quality that you could possibly be in this lifetime. Whatever it takes that's positive to be the best human being on the planet you can be daily, hourly, weekly, monthly, yearly. Those are one of the things that define manhood for me.
wonderful.
When I have an issue that I can't solve, my manhood doesn't decrease. It increases because I look for knowledge from other people. That's not a weakness to me.
Mm-hmm.
Because I found out that I know nothing.
Wonderful. That is, we could end right now, really and truly, but we got more to go with. But this is, yeah, this is wonderful. So what stage of the journey is the Covered Mind mental health in the Black community at right now?
Well, we're at a standstill right now.
Oh,
because 98% of the time when I do my projects, it's coming out of my pocket. And sometimes, you know what, you reach a point where my family's looking at me like, Dad, listen. Or my wife looks at me and says, you know what, you got to find another way of raising some money. And people think that, you know, just because I know a few people, that's all and good. But just because I know a few people doesn't mean that these people financially back me all the time. There's a system that doesn't support the work that I do, but supports other things around it, like comedies and such, that don't put us in a very good light as thinking, loving, willing, caring, responsible people. There could be some issues.
But Chan, and I'm going to ask you this, that must frustrate the heck out of you, doesn't it?
Which part?
Well, that's a great question. Seems like it all does. The system, because the content that you put out isn't mainstream for a lot of people, but it's stuff that's necessary.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you for saying that. It's not mainstream, and I guess when we say mainstream, it's for. I make films for people of color, and for everybody else, secondly, because I think they need to have a viewing of these sorts of viewpoints from us, that we control our narrative. And I think you should come in and look and take a look at how we think and how we feel, because we have been subject to how you feel and what you think of all of our lives, but you know nothing about us. We know everything about you, but you know nothing about us. This is why we are where we are, not only in the United States, the relationships between race all over the world.
Mm-hmm.
Because some, not all, white folks have decided to dismiss people who look like us. That we have no background. That we're just here. That you play no part in this. That we're just here.
Danny Stone says your work is too real. It's too conscious and awakens black people in the way, and they want us to stay asleep.
Well, if you're on the planet and you're living and you got breath in you, then you're awake. Now you can be zombied if you want. You won't get anywhere. You won't have anything. You won't be what God wanted you to be. You wasted your time. As far as I'm concerned.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
There are a lot of people walking around here as zombies. I'm talking about black folk.
Yeah.
All over the planet. So what can you do? What can we do to help each other snap out of it? Instead of taking advantage of those who are not awake. What can we do to awake the consciousness of those brothers and sisters who are sleepwalking through this thing?
Comment, just let you, Dr. Chachi saying very true. This is why we know even the most obscure, predominantly white colleges, but the mainstream probably never heard of Howard until Kamala Harris was elected.
They don't have to. Because white privilege, you don't have to. Why should I know? I'm la-di-da over here. I'm going to go about doing what I do. I don't need to know about that. And this is especially for all white men. Because that's where the issue lies, actually. The issue lies with most, not all, white men who don't want to deal with this subject. Some will say, it's not me. And I agree, it may not be you. But the issue is that you have benefited from it. He's a part of you, whether you want to recognize or not. You came into being because of what we've been through.
Okay, we're going to keep on going down this path. So talking about Blacks and mental health, how much of an impact has what has gone on in 2020 had on the state of many Black people's mental health, in your opinion?
Well, I think for for many Black folk, when we think about what we've gone through 2020, when we look at other people, especially white folks, we say, well, welcome to our world. Because we've been living in isolation for 400 years plus. We've been in the house for a long time. We haven't been on the streets for a long time. We haven't been able to go in grocery stores and other restaurants for a long time. So we're used to that. But the moment politicians who say, you know what, we got to shut it down, some people lose their minds. You're taking away our rights. This is our civil right to go, da, 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 da. Think about Black people. How do you think we feel? And what do you think that has done to us mentally when you can't handle it for a week? Not all. I'm not talking about all white people. And I'm not talking about all Black people either. I'm talking about some. So I don't want people to call me and, oh, he's a racist. That's not true. I'm not a racist. I'm not a racist. I'm race conscious, but I'm not a racist. To be a racist, for me to be a racist, would hate myself. Since all of us are mixed, I don't give a damn how dark and how light you are. If you've been in America or anywhere else on the planet, pretty much, you're mixed with something, especially here in America, especially in Canada. You're mixed with something other than Africa. Case in point. And maybe I'm crazy. I just thought, if you live along the equator in hot zones, what biological reason do we have? Body hair is more of a European trait. I think as mankind moved from Africa north, he developed lighter skin and body hair to protect him in the elements. That's what I think. And, you know, for a Black man to have body hair or facial hair, a lot of it, or some of it, is not an African trait. Maybe I'm wrong, and maybe some geneticist or, you know, biology professor can tell me that I'm wrong, but I think that I may be right on that one. So I have body hair. Not to put my business out in the street, but, you know, how can I be a racist? Race conscious.
Okay. Want to ask you how during 2020, many companies are now I'm going to put it, throwing money at Black causes throwing money at black people.
Here I am. Here I am. I've got a basket to catch it. I've got hands to catch it.
Do you think it's sincere, or do you think it's out of guilt?
First, it's out of guilt. You never done it before. All of a sudden, people kept saying Black Lives Matter. And all of a sudden, the protesting and da-da-da-da-da, and all of a sudden, you get it? A light goes off? That's pretty deep to me. When we've been telling you this is the way we've been treated. Not just here in America, but all over the planet. And all of a sudden, you wake up and you say, oh my God, this is terrible. I didn't know. You clutch your pearls. Oh, I didn't know. What do you mean you didn't know? What kind of arrogance is that? We have a history in this world. We have a history in these countries that we live in. We're not silent people. We're thinking people. We're feeling people. We're loving people. We're fathers. We're daddies. We're uncles. We're grandfathers. We're godfathers. We're teachers. We're presidents. We're responsible people. And all of a sudden, the light goes off and you just like, well, I didn't know. Look at the system that you built. Look at the system. Systematic racism. We have so many talented brothers and sisters, people of color, not just black people, just brothers and sisters, people of color, who have done so much for this world, so much for these countries, and have not been properly recognized for their contributions to mankind positively. You have newspapers apologizing for their coverage of the Black community. I heard in Kansas City, newspaper for being, well, you know, we really never covered Black people properly. You've been in the paper business for 100 years. You never covered. You mean what? That's just a small, tiny thing of it. You know, I used to say something that used to get some people upset, and you know, I just say it because it's true. I said it. I was in London at a screening of one of my films, and when I said it, a hush came over the audience, and then people started clapping. And what I say is this: Black people create and white folks conquer. I can prove it. I can prove it. Look at the music industry. Little Richard, Jerry Lee Lewis, Michael Jackson, Justin Timberlake, Janet Jackson, Britney Spears.
Interesting. Okay. Interesting analogy.
Very. You know what? They monetize us. We create it, they monetize it, take it to another level. And very few give us credit for what we have created. Not all.
Okay. Chan, we're going to need a part 2 of this. I'm telling you this already. Sorry. I'm warning you already. And definitely sooner rather than later. And we'll get to your other project in a few moments, but what have you found out about mental health in the Black community working on this documentary? Has there anything that's been an aha moment, something you didn't know that you now realize?
I didn't realize how many people were suffering in silence. Until I started asking questions when I do my interviews around the United States, which I will continue up sometime, spring. I will start continuing, when I get some money and hopefully get some more funding. I will start interviewing in spring. And but the few people I've talked to, children, painful. Young people, painful. Well, Mr. Chan, I've been kind of sheltered. My mom says I'm depressed. She's talking to an 8-year-old boy.
Wow.
Who can't seem to find himself. Who can't seem to find a friend. He can't seem to find someone he can talk to trust. Mother's at her wit's end. Father's blaming himself for his son's lack of social ability. Not willing to understand that it's deeper than you think it is. That boy is the way he is for a very good reason. That young lady is I'm finding more boys though, who are Black boys who are dealing with these issues of stress and anxiety and depression. And this COVID thing, for some, did not help. Being away from a school, not able to concentrate at home. Maybe his home environment or her home environment isn't conducive to study. Maybe there's too much going on in the home or not enough going on in the home for the young person to focus on his studies or her studies. That breeds about a certain kind of feeling in a child, And you've got to think about the parent. What is the parent going through at this particular time? The stress of losing their job, not having enough money. $600, what is that going to do for me? I've got rent to pay. I've got food to put on our table. My husband's only working half time. Oh, I've been, da-da-da-da-da-da. Stress. That trickles down if it's in your house. If you got other people in your house. Somebody else is feeling that. Because there's been a change in vibe in the house, a change in spirit, a change in mind, a change in how people relate to one another. You've got people in close quarters who haven't been in close quarters in a very long time, or if ever. People are different. When you start spending time with people that you love, or say that you loved, or say that you married, you start to see a different side of everybody. It ain't working for everybody. People are seeing themselves and their spouses and loved ones and partners differently now. Looking at the kids differently. Kids looking at them differently. If you're in an apartment and it's 4 of y'all or 3 of y'all in an apartment in a high rise, and you have no balcony, and you can't go out, and all you have to do is take an elevator downstairs and upstairs and take the stairs, and you can't be on an elevator with a whole bunch of people, what does that do for your people moving out of the cities, moving to suburbs so they can breathe, they can be safe health-wise, mentally, physically, spiritually? It's all around deep.
Question for you. Danny Stone, just going back to your analogy of the different music artists, he's saying all facts, do they monetize because they control the distribution?
Yes. The internet, in a way, has made it a kind of an even playing field when it comes to distribution of one's product. But if you go outside of that and deal with, the major distribution companies of product and films and there's a problem. That's why I'm waiting to see what happens with this, going back to the question you had asked before about, is the industry really serious about giving Black people a break when it comes to telling our stories, we controlling our narrative, and having the same distribution as anybody else would, the same platforms everybody else would, and gathering the same financial wealth that everybody else has. Also, ownership. Hats off to Tyler Perry, regardless of what people say about him or don't say about him. Hands off to Tyler Perry. He didn't do it alone, but he did it.
Serena Wills is saying suffering in silence can be a silent killer. Sad.
Yeah, but that's all of us. That's all of us. There are wealthy Black people who suffer in silence. Trust me and believe. There are wealthy Black people who suffer in silence. Having money doesn't always make you loud and proud. Sometimes it's a Band-Aid over a bullet wound. For some. For some. Money sometimes is not the cure.
Serena Wills is saying, and she said, these kids learning through the pandemic could be a show in itself.
Facts. 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 Wow. We got to find a better way of dealing with ourselves.
Yeah.
I'm a member. I'm a member of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated. And I've been noticing over the years, since I was a kid, being around Omega Psi Phi and the work they've been doing in the communities around the country, which made me very attracted to them because they were doing the work that I wanted to do when I got older. And now they're doing the work. Now we're like hand in hand because we're both doing the same work together, you know.
Right.
And that kind of gathering of brotherhood and community is what we need. Sisterhood, brotherhood together. And not just through, you know, my fraternity of, you know, of Omega, but fraternity of people of color, period. That's what we need. We need to be able to trust one another, help one another, move forward. Move forward. Physically, mentally, spiritually, financially. We can help each other move forward. We have to understand the power that we have.
So Dr. Touch is saying you have 2 Deltas in the house right at the present time.
Love my sisters.
And here's Serena saying, hey, there are some Omega bro. Myself and Dr. Tachi are sorors of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Inc. If they could be on with you right now, they'd be throwing it down with you, Jen. I know a little bit about them, and I know that they'd be throwing it down with you right now. And both are wonderful, wonderful, wonderful Black women. Wonderful Black women.
Beautiful.
And Serena goes, yes.
Coleman love, Coleman love.
Oh gosh. All right. Let's see if we can flip it over to the other upcoming documentary. you as you see, Chan likes the light subjects. The other documentary he's working on is called The Church House: Sexuality in the Black Church. Chan, you want me to be your bodyguard?
You know what? No, I got the biggest bodyguard a man can have.
There you go.
As Bertie Mac would say, him upstairs.
Oh, Chan, this is good. Okay, so Chan,
yes, sir.
Why this one? Why this one? Why the church? Come on, man. I just
had enough of the BS. I had enough of the BS. And I was like, you know what? There's a few folks in the pulpit that really should not be there.
Right on.
I think they got the call confused. When the call came through, it was not to be a pastor, but to become a member. And I think what got it switched up, because some of them should not be in the pews, shouldn't be in the pulpit. They're there for the wrong reasons. If you're going to be a person who represents the Almighty, you have to be extraordinary. In my opinion, it's not a job or calling that anybody can do. It's a lifelong commitment. I didn't say lifelong commitment to be poor and not to be human, but you have to be extraordinary. And I think many have fallen short. And the reason why, the last straw that broke the camel's back for me for doing the church house, sexuality in the Black church, was the madness that went on with Eddie Long.
Oh, yes. Yes.
That's when I started my research, and like, you know what, enough is enough. I know what I know. I've seen what I've seen. And this documentary could have gone a whole different way, because the people that came to me to do interviews with me gave me the true stories of named pastors in this country that if I would have put that in there, these people would have been destroyed. And I didn't do it because it wasn't what I was supposed to do.
What are you supposed to do with that documentary?
What I'm supposed to do is expose the people who have these stories, some of these stories, and let God take care of those people who did these things to these people.
Do you ever waver on that?
No, not at all.
Okay. I find both these topics really, really incredible subjects that need to be brought out there. What do you feel is the state of the Black church in America right now, just in general? What do you think? And again, we're going through a year where, you know, the Black church is of importance, as it always is, but even more so at the end of this year.
To me, the Black church used to be the place of refuge where we could go to lay our burdens down. It used to be a place where one could go for help, mental, physical, spiritual, financial help. That might be hard pressed to find these days.
Why do you think it's changed?
Church has turned into a business. And anything goes sometimes in some churches. Power tripping, ego tripping, male tripping. And when you have confusions in the pulpit, you may have some confusion in the pews too. When you have some confusion in the pews, you may have some confusion in the pulpit. What are you really here for? What do you really want? And how has the church handled sexuality? Not just homosexuality, but heterosexuality. You preach against homosexuality, but you don't say anything to the choir director or whatever, the organist or the pianist in the church or whatever, or one of the deacons. You don't say anything about that. Because like in the film, I said, well, I guess talented people get a pass if you're gifted in the Black church and gay or homosexual. But
do you not think that may be also in other areas too, when it comes to
yeah, but we're talking about the Black church.
Okay, all right.
We're talking about the church. We're talking about us.
Yep.
And how we have dealt with or not dealt with sexuality of the people in the pews and the person in the pulpit. And the gender situation of having women in the pulpit also, where a woman couldn't approach the lector. They stayed on the floor to say what they had to say, but they would never approach or never invited to speak on the platform above. You know, when I first showed the film, it was in Nashville a couple years ago. Split audience, because that's the Bible Belt. Folks on one side like, oh, hell no. And other folks, a young pastors on the other side were saying, yes, this is what life is now. Let's talk about this. You know, everything else seems to evolve and move on and progress. until somebody said, who put a back cover on the Bible? Has God stopped making miracles? Has the devil stopped working? Have prophets shut their mouths? Or wars are not waging over religion? Who put a back cover on the Bible? God stopped speaking? Angels stop appearing? Saints ain't Satan?
If your research and the work you've done on both projects, has one been more difficult to get Blacks to open up more than the other, or have they been both open in both productions?
The people that I have met that have graced me and blessed me with the opportunity to speak with them have been very open to me. Very open to me. I come with no preconceived notions. I don't come with, or judgment. I don't do that. I want people to be comfortable with me because I want to be comfortable with them. I want to be able to have a truthful conversation with people about what's really going on in their lives so we can move forward. Because your story is definitely going to heal somebody. Because you're not the only one who has one. Somebody may be going through this, or because of hearing your story, they may not go through it. They may take the other path, which is easier. So all of us are teaching each other when we shut up and listen.
Agreed. Where did you do your interviews for the Church House?
LA, New York, Chicago, Nashville, Atlanta.
How was it? Just out of curiosity, how was the Atlanta experience?
Oh, you know what? Atlanta is always cool. It's still the Bible Belt. But Atlanta has a lot of people from other places living in Atlanta, from Chicago, New York, New Jersey, Washington, Philadelphia. A lot of people, a lot of transplants. So it was kind of interesting, but no, not a problem. Not a problem.
I hope you can go there with me, but you've had some personal loss this year. And you don't have to go there, but if you are comfortable, I'd like you to share with our audience how that journey has been for you.
I lost 4 close friends this year.
Wow.
3 to COVID. One to cancer. And I lost my mother this year due to COVID. It has been a rough year. And it still is emotional. We just had her service, memorial service, December 5th. So I'm still a little raw. And I'm at a place in my life that I thought I would never be. When one loses a parent, or both parents, but my father passed 5 years ago.
Oh, wow.
And I still haven't really dealt with that. really, emotionally. And then my mom just passed. So I thought I had been a responsible adult for a while, making my own decisions, trying to pay a bill to, having a family, being daddy, being husband. But it wasn't until I lost my mother, my last parent, that I found out that I was an adult. For real this time. That I was the last line of defense. I am the elder now. I am the older Black male now in the family. I am what my sons will come to and ask questions. I am that one. I am the one who my nephews will come to me and ask questions.
Yep.
About life.
Yep.
Well, what did you do? How can I? What does this mean? I no longer can do that on the physical plane. And those, many people out here know what I'm talking about. The only person, place, or thing I can go to is God. There's no one in between that now. That relationship. Not that your parents, your grandparents, you can go to them for advice, but when that all clears away, when that's all cleared away from you, you've got a clear picture of where your faith, energy, and life comes from. Faith becomes the thing. If it wasn't before, now it is. So, dealing with my mother's passing, I know she comes spiritually to me, as my father does, and that all the ancestors do from time to time. And thank God I'm open to that. That doesn't scare me. But the one thing I did find out, well, two things. I'm blessed with a memory of a beautiful mother, a caring woman who did the best that she possibly could with what she had and what she knew. Poured into me what she could. And I'm grateful for that. Humbled by that. The other thing is that I'm able to call on her to move on my behalf because she can help me now more than when she was here. I can call on my father as I call on my ancestors to help move me through this plane here. Now mom's up there helping me get through this. That's the beautiful thing about it. It's painful, yes, she's not here physically, but I know where she is. In glory, being glorified as she glorified the Lord.
Wow. Thank you. That's a powerful tribute to a very special woman.
Yes.
Serena Wills is saying my deepest condolences. Dr. Tati saying, "Oh dear, I'm so sorry to hear this." Danny Stone saying, "Wow, so much loss." Passing along condolences, strength, healing, and prayers, my brother.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Serena Wills is saying, "Too many losses this year. Way too many losses this year."
You know, I think the gains from this year are powerful and phenomenal. So many gains. When you flip the script, a time to have for yourself, to reimagine your life. And I'm right now, I'm post-COVID. I'm thinking post-COVID. What is life going to be like? And who are we going to become after this?
Mm-hmm. Very true. You know what? Interesting. I heard Les Brown say something the other day saying recessions restore resourcefulness.
Agreed. If you use your time wisely.
Yes, true.
I've got more time in back of me than I have ahead of me.
Same here.
And I'll be damned if I'm going to spend it on foolishness.
Well, like I tell people, I'm on the back 9 of the 18 holes of my golf course.
Yes. Yeah. So I've got a bucket list. So I plan on, you know, making that bucket list.
Are you comfortable to share 1 or 2 things on that bucket list?
Sure. Now, listen, it's my bucket list, so don't judge me.
Go ahead, man. You know, you're good with me. You're good. I got your back, Chad. I got your back.
You know, I'm sensitive. One of the things on my bucket list is to write a song that Barbra Streisand sings.
Wow.
One of the things on my bucket list is to take one of these 2 books that I've been reading and do a feature film on one of them. One is called Perfect Peace by Daniel Black.
Yeah.
And the other one is called Nigger in the Window by Helen Lee Jackson. 2 great books, 2 different writers, Daniel Black and Helen Lee Jackson, but 2 great stories. So that's in my bucket list. And
you know what's on one of my bucket lists?
What?
I want to see the day that you come into my father's home.
Oh my God, music.
And sit down and he just plays music for you for hours.
Because that's going to happen.
You know, I need that, because that's on my bucket list. I want to see 2 musical giants. Now, my dad doesn't play an instrument, but you know what I got to do? I actually got to, next time at his place, I got to take a picture. I'm going to take a picture of his collection. Actually, I'm going there tomorrow, and I'm going to send it to you, because I'm going to do whatever I can to get you up here to see that. And and you'll see the Macintosh amplifiers.
Yes.
You'll see the reel-to-reel player.
That's right.
That would be a lot of my bucket list is just some of the people I really care about enjoying, either with myself or especially my dad, because I have a lot of gentlemen that enjoy music. Yeah.
Oh man, music is like my second breath, man. I couldn't live without it. you know, on my Facebook page, I produce a nightly list of music.
Yes, people follow him on. Go put D Channsin Berry on it, like the music stuff that's going on. Hey, by the way, are you still? Is it the vision still to do something on Rufus and Chaka Khan?
Yes, I am still working on that documentary. But once again, we ran out a little bit of money. So
no problem.
Just trying to raise money to get these. I'm doing the Whispers documentary.
Yes, I know that too. Yep.
It just gets better with time. The Whispers, and I'm doing Ask Rufus, the Rufus Chaka Khan story.
Oh, and that I cannot wait for that. Wow.
And I would love, this is on the bucket list, to do either the documentary or the feature film about Stevie Wonder.
Oh,
Stevie is my all-time favorite artist and my dear brother. I either love to do a documentary on Stevie or do the feature film about Stevie's life. And I got the perfect name for it, the title, everything.
You know, you've touched my heart, because one of my all-time favorite pieces of music is Songs in the Key of Life.
Listen, Stevie
stands alone. Stands.
Steve, business. Listen, I had to give my every girlfriend I've dated up until I got married.
Yeah,
I had to give them the test.
I know where you're going with this. And you're serious. I see the look on your face. Hey, you're not laughing with me, so go on.
Hey, this is serious. So I'm going. This is how I approach it. I'm going to ask you a question. I did like this. I'm going to ask you a question. And they look like, what are you about to ask me? What are you about to ask me? Could you name your top 5 male recording artists for me, please? That's what you want to ask me? Yeah. Okay. Good. And man, God's my witness. If Stevie wasn't on that list, or number 1, done.
Oh my goodness. So they're just taking a look in the room here. Serena saying, wow, Barbara Streisand, lover. Serena also saying Rufus and Chaka Khan story. Dr. Taji saying that would be an amazing documentary. I remember seeing Stevie Wonder a number of years ago, and the first 2 words that came out of my mouth was, no, actually one word, genius.
Definitely.
That was that to this day. And he played the whole Song in the Keys of Life, and I just said, I'm done. I'm done. Yeah. I don't need to really have to say anything else. Like that album, even if I put it on now, I have to play the whole thing. I can't play 1 or 2 songs.
Yeah.
I gotta play the whole thing.
Doc, I'm not a fighting man. I'm not a physical man. I'm not a physical, I like to get into a physical. But I might cut you with a rusty spoon if you talk about Stevie. I might cut you with a rusty spoon if you talk about Phoebe the wrong way.
Now, obviously, you have met.
Yes, I have. I've had the pleasure of meeting brother, him coming to my home.
Oh, wow.
Having dinner with him. And having deep conversations with us, especially about our mothers. When Steve found out that my mother had passed, Steve texted me this note about my mother that I didn't even know he knew this much about her like that.
Wow.
and I only read it once. And I could never read it again. It floored me. It was such a beautiful tribute to my mother that Steve wrote to me. But there were a lot of people that did that, you know. Shaka, Oprah, Miss Winfrey, Tremaine Hawkins. A lot of people, my other friends, reached out and had wonderful things to say about my mom. And it was beautiful, man. It was beautiful. But Steve wrote that, and I was done. I was done.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, my brother, we could go on for a while, but I'm gonna hold it here. But I would like
everything, Harry.
I thought it's a good brother. All right.
Going to fool me now.
No, we could go on, but I want to save some more to come. But before we let you go, what do you want to say to our people?
There's two things that work for us. Love and respect. There's only two things that work for us. Love and respect. And if in between love and respect has to be faith. Love, respect, in the middle, faith. We need to have that to love ourselves, in order to love each other, and in order to move as a community forward. Love, respect, with faith in the middle. And I wish everybody that. From my heart, I wish everybody that. And more.
Don't think there's anything much to be said after that. D. Channsin Berry, we done some time together. We met each other a long time ago, and who would have known when I answered that cell phone call?
Who would have thunk it?
Thunk it. And who would have thought that this man who sort of just ran away from me when we're at that restaurant,
right?
The man just dashed me, and I go, "What did I say to this man?" And he brought back that DVD, and I said, "Bang!" And we're still running today.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And always will.
Absolutely. And folks, follow him on Facebook. Just put in D. Channsin Berry. One of the most, and as I said, when you were away for a moment, you are a true Renaissance man. And I mean that in the highest respect.
Thank you. Thank you, my brother.
Highest respect. And I'm going to use your love, faith, and respect if you allow me to use it in other encounters I have.
Sure.
Because I think that, as we say, enough said.
Mm-hmm.
You know, enough said.
Thank you to everybody who's listening, who's watching. Thank you to you, Dr. Vibe, for giving me a platform.
It's always there. It's our platform. You know, there's always room for you here, and I will continue to have you here because we need you.
Yes, and I need you. Trust me.
Yep. Yeah, we need each other. And I just tell you, folks, and what you're hearing here, even when Chan and I talk on the phone, this is how we roll.
That's right. That's right.
This is not a play on game. This is how we roll. We have these conversations, and we always come out better because it's therapy for him and it's therapy for me.
And to my Canadian brothers and sisters, I miss you so much. I don't miss the cold.
Wait, come up in this. Well,
I'll be there this summer, though. But you won't see me this. You won't see me Christmas like you've done in the past.
No problem. No problem. Well, Serena Will says again, you're in my prayers. Dr. Tachi saying following. Serena says thank you. I'd like to say thank you for these people who helped make this an epic conversation. Serena, Dr. Tachi, Danny Stone. I know Louise is watching. I know others are watching. This is good. I am Dr. Vibe, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe show, two-time Canadian Ethnic Media Association award winner. This year, 2021 for Best Podcasting News. 2018 received it for the Innovation Award. Also, I host and co-produce the only online show for fathers and men in the world that is sponsored by Dove Men Care. If you want to follow me, the best place to do that is at my website, thedrvibeshow.com. I'd like to close out saying you're blessed and highly favored. You're a magnet for miracles. You're a solution for someone's problem. I also say these days, remember to give yourself grace. But I'm also, with Chan's permission now, I'm going to also end off now saying love, faith, and respect. Also, big thank you to BIA Media. God bless. Peace be well. Keep the faith. Walk good. And we'll see you soon. And if you're seeing this before the end of the year, we wish you the best of the holidays and a prosperous and highly favored 2021. Goodbye, everybody.